Thank you very much for joining us on the Voice of Job Seekers. This is Mark, and I've been doing this podcast since 2013. Been doing the blog since 2011. If you want to know more about me and the podcast and what I talk about, which is mostly job search and careers, you can go to the voiceofjobseekers.com. And there you can always sign up for the newsletters, especially the new one, the Job Scam Report. And I'll come back to that in a second. But there's plenty of podcasts, a whole ton of articles, and free information, lots of resources there that I've collected over the years and that I've created for job seekers. And mostly have been free. So if you ever need to contact me, you can always contact me at mark@thevoiceofjobseekers.com. You can always call, leave a message on the speak pipe that's on the Voice of Job Seekers. You just go to that area on the right hand facing your computer screen, and you can leave me a voice message. Be sure you leave me your name and contact information. So if you expect an answer back, it needs to be very clear what your question is and how I can contact you. Okay? And if it's a good one, I'll play it on the air or play it on the recording back. Welcome. And this is a special week, and this is going to be a special podcast episode because I'm not going to be the one talking hardly at all outside of what this introduction is. As I was saying in the introduction about the Job Scam Report, I just created that on a platform called Substack. That's Substack. And you can get to that. The one that I created is markanthonydyson.substack, Substack.com. And there I'm talking strictly about job scams. And I'm trying to report it from every angle possible, just so that we can all make sense of it, so that one, we can avoid them. Two, that if you had fallen victim of a scam, that you can go and try to resolve your issues post-scam. And you're not dumb if you've fallen for a scam, even if you've fallen for it a couple of times. These scammers are very sophisticated. They're not just great scammers and talkers. They're also great marketers. They know how to get to you. They know how to persuade you, make it look like they're the real thing, like they're a real company. They've been able to even act as a real company, one that you already know. There have been people who've been scammed by fake employees, fake hiring managers, fake recruiters of the biggest companies in the world. Who wouldn't be a little interested if somebody said, hey, you might fit for this role that pays more, makes you work less, and makes it convenient for you? Who wouldn't fall for that? Unfortunately, when you hear things that are too good to be true, they usually are, and you want to back off. In fact, we hope that you report them. But in this particular episode, we're going to talk about fake recruiters. And my friend Lisa Rangel, who's been on the show, who I've been on other shows with and been my friend, we talk and we text back and forth often. And she has one of the premier resume companies in the U.S. And I would even fair to say global. She knows the recruiting game because she used to be an executive recruiter. And she used to work with recruiters. And she is very close to the game, the real game, I should say, of how recruiters work and how they respond and what you can expect. What she's going to tell you is some signs that you could tell that you need to dump this recruiter. You need to report them. You need to block them. And I say report because the FBI and the BBB, or the Better Business Bureau, and the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, are all very serious about bringing justice and bring prosecution towards these fake recruiters and scammers. And you should know that they don't work necessarily individually, they work in groups. And they want your private data and they want your money. So I hope that you'll pay very close attention to what Lisa Rangel of Chameleon Resumes has to say. It's just 10 minutes. I'm going to leave it here, but I do want you to go subscribe to the Job Scam report at markanthonydyson.substack.com. And you'll find that there is a subscription. There's free information there. If you want to get deeper, there's a subscription cost there, and you can decide how deep you want to get into it. But a lot of the most interesting information is going to be behind the paid subscription, because there you'll be able to access a lot of discussion that I hope that will go on. Some of my colleagues have also subscribed, so they're going to be involved in some of that discussion from time to time when they get a chance to. And you get to hear real stories, and you get to hear real proactive strategies that you could use to avoid these scams, and also what to do when you've fallen victim, and really just to learn more about their MO, because they're so sophisticated. There's a lot of them. And in fact, if you go to the Better Business Bureau, if you put that in your search engine, put scam tracker tool, you'll find out, if you do a search for scams, there's more than 25,000 different types of scam. That's a lot. This is not an easy thing to navigate. So it's going to take the full engagement for you to navigate today's job search safely, because there are people and the scammers, they're thieves, parasites, my friend Ed Hahn would say. They're trying to make it look, they're masquerading as an angel of light, so to speak. They're trying to save you from your desperation or your dire need to find a job sooner than later, one that's better than the one you've got now. They want to do that. So they're going to fool you, use trickery. They're going to deceive you, or try to. So I'm going to do the best I can to provide tools to help you stay ahead of the game. So join me, and hopefully you'll stay around and listen to Lisa as she offers advice of what executive recruiters don't. Again, Lisa Rangel of Chameleon Resumes is a friend of mine. Just so it's clear, I got her permission to be able to take this off of her LinkedIn Live and put it on the podcast, because I think it's very important for people to understand the importance of the recruiting roles, especially of the executive recruiting scams that are going on right now as we speak. Lisa has been in career coaching and resume writing game for a very long time, and she's seen a lot of things, and I trust what she says. I'll put a link to her site in the show notes for you to get a hold of her if you need to, or if you have any questions of her, you might want to use her service, who knows. But again, this is a pretty serious topic on how to avoid executive recruiting scams, and I think she says it better than what I could have possibly have said. So here she is, and after that, that'll be the show, and I hope you enjoy it, and you'll come back next week. Thank you very much for joining the Voice of Job Seekers.
Today, I want to talk about a serious topic. I want to help you, as an executive job seeker, avoid getting scammed. And I want to talk about one thing a reputable, legit executive recruiter will never ask you to do as a job seeker, an executive job seeker. And I want to just talk about some real points that can help you avoid this and I want to just talk about some real points that can help you avoid this happening to you. So first, the one thing that a legit, reputable executive recruiter will never, ever ask of executive candidates is to be paid. Legit, reputable executive recruiters are paid by their client companies who contract them to go out and find talent. And when that executive recruiter presents the talent that company ultimately hires, they pay the fee to the executive recruiter. That is how executive recruiting works. Anyone claiming to be an executive recruiter approaching executive job seekers with the promise of pay our exorbitant fee and we will place you, that is not legit. That is not legit. No one can be paid to place you because they can't guarantee that you'll ever be hired, ever. They cannot change. They cannot control what happens inside companies for budgets, approval, how you're going to interview compared to your competition, who the competition will be. These people who are claiming that you can pay to be placed have absolutely no way of controlling that process. And it's a scam. It's a scam. And here is what they're preying upon and what you need as an executive job seeker to be fully aware of, because this is what these scammers are preying on. And this is how you protect yourself. One, there is no substitute for doing the executive job search. That's it. Period. End of story. You have to execute the job search yourself. That means you have to network. It means you need to post your resume job openings. It means you need to send your resume to executive recruiters and network with executive recruiters accordingly, with the majority of hires happening through networking, employee referrals, social media connections, personal contacts, college alumni, corporate alumni, professional associations. I can go on and on. That's how most hires happen. And if you do all of the activities in those categories I just mentioned and more, and you physically execute those activities to do your job search, that's really where all the magic happens. Where you make yourself susceptible to being scammed is when you don't want to do those things and you think you can pay someone to do the search for you. Someone will take your money. Someone will take your money. And the bottom line is, and believe me, I'm all about paying people to do things for me sometimes. I am all about delegating. And executives delegate. That's what we do. But I'm telling you, in this one specific area, you can pay someone like me to write your resume and write your profile. You can pay somebody like me to coach you how to execute the job search. You can pay somebody like me to prepare you for the interview. You can pay somebody like me or an employment lawyer to help you negotiate your compensation and your salary. You can pay networking groups to help you buy into a network, but then you still need to physically execute the networking. But you can pay someone to help you with all aspects of the job search, but you cannot replace anything. Nothing will replace you physically executing the job search and you physically reaching out to people to network. You physically asking for those conversations to have networking chats or attending networking event in person or virtually, or doing a LinkedIn search for your college alumni in your industry or any of that. Or you can pay somebody to do the research, but you still have to reach out to them. So you will find yourself susceptible to buying into a scam if you think you're going to find a way to avoid you doing the job search. I literally had to, my husband witnessed this conversation. This happened about 2 weeks ago. I had someone email me incessantly that they needed to pay me to help them with their search. They were not my target client. And they kept saying to me, I will pay you to place me. I will pay you to place me. They were like 3 or 4 emails in one day. And I kept saying, that's not what I do. That's not what I do. Be careful. You're going to get scammed. Don't do that. Here's a writer that could help you. Because again, they weren't. my target market. I wasn't going to be the best person to help them. And I gave them another resource. No, it has to be you. It has to be you. And I was like, oh my goodness. Honored, totally honored, not complaining. But I physically had to call them and I had to say to them, listen to people when they tell you no, number one, because this is not what I do. And I have ethics, so I'm not going to take your money because this is not what I do. No matter how much faith you have in me, I'm telling you this is not what I do and I'm not your person. You need to find someone else. I gave you some recommendations. But two, be careful when you say I will pay for you to place me, because someone will take your money. Someone will take your money and do exactly what you're asking. Or say they will do exactly what you're asking, but they can't. So just be careful. Do not set yourself up to be scammed. You have to accept the fact that you need to do the things that you don't want to do and have to physically do the search. Because if you start to think you're going to delegate this and offload that to someone else, that's when you start to set yourself up to be scammed. So just be careful. I've had people the reason why I did this video is because I recently had more than one person ask me, but this the thing now, being pitched and saying that they can be paid to be placed. And I'm like, no, run the other way. Run the other way. And you can Google the name of the company and scam, the name of the company and complaint. And that will help you determine if the person approaching you had done that scam before. Anyway, with that said, be careful out there. Mark Anthony Dyson does a lot of work on signs of scams. You can always follow him and look at his work, as well as asktheheadhunter.com. He writes, Nick Corcadorlis does a lot of articles on companies that have done this scam, and he's exposed them. This is a thing, and you got to be careful, and we got to look out for each other. So if you would like to learn how to work legitimately with executive recruiters, I have a training. It's free training. You can go to workwithexecrecruiters.com and watch that training. It's an hour-long training. It's on demand. And I walk you through what recruiting is, what it isn't, how to work well with recruiters, all different kinds of recruiting, corporate recruiting, contingency recruiting, retained recruiting, contract recruiting. And that's what we show you how to do. I want to show you how to work well with recruiters. But again, none of that's a substitute for doing the actual search. So go to workwithexecrecruiters.com, get that free training, and let's all take care of each other. So if you know someone who will benefit from this video, I'm going to ask you to share it. If you know someone who will want to subscribe to the channel to not miss next week's video, ask them to subscribe it. Make sure you're subscribed. If you like it, I'm going to ask you to like it. And of course, if you have any comments or questions, post below, send me a